What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video and another week of Loki. We're here with the third episode titled Lamentis, and we're going to be getting straight into spoilers. So if you guys have not seen this episode, definitely go watch that episode and come back here to the video. But if you have seen this episode, let's go ahead and get straight into this. Love this episode, had a lot of fun with it. I think it's definitely arguably maybe the best episode in this series. I really liked that opening episode, and last week's episode was also great. So overall, I'm really loving the show. I really enjoyed the way that this one was shot, the lighting, the color palette, and the performances are great throughout. But let's get right into what happens, the meat and potatoes of this episode. In last week's episode, at the end, we're introduced to Lady Loki, who in this episode we find out she calls herself Sylvie. And yeah, she's a variant of Loki, the female version, which anybody who knows the comics is not surprised to see. I actually called it. I felt like that was definitely where they were going as soon as I knew that there was going to be another Loki, and they kind of had it as a hooded figure at the end of the first episode. Something told me we're going to get Lady Loki. And a part of me almost felt like they kind of announced this ahead of time, like it was kind of just like in my brain, but I just can't remember if they made an official announcement about this happening. Sophia Di Martino, who plays the character, I believe that's her name. Yeah, she was great. I really enjoy her as Lady Loki. And this episode is really a Loki and Lady Loki episode. Really enjoyed their banter and seeing how similar yet how different they are over the course of the episode. And yeah, this episode picks up pretty much exactly where the last one left off, where Loki and her both went through a portal, which ended up leading them back to the TVA. We do not really get any time at all in this episode with the TVA characters like Owen Wilson and the others, so very curious to see what ends up happening when they reconnect with Loki, because obviously they did not want him to go through that portal. But yeah, he ended up following Sylvie into the portal. Going back to the TVA, they get into some hand-to-hand combat with the TVA and with each other, which ends up leading them to accidentally going to Lamentis, which is one of the many apocalypses that was on the time pad that Lady Loki was using to travel through. We learned in the last episode that these apocalypses are where she would go to kind of hide out, because she could do anything she wanted in these apocalypses without causing any sort of time variance. You know, it's a lot to definitely take in, but I like the way that the show is explaining it. I think it's handling it pretty well. And yeah, overall, thoroughly enjoyed this episode. You have Loki and Lady Loki, Sylvie, now trapped on this planet that is, you know, going to have imminent doom. We learn from Sylvie, Lady Loki, that this is the worst of the apocalypses. And they learn not too long into their time together that the time pad now needs more power in order for them to get off of the planet. So they end up going in search of some sort of power source. And over the course of the episode, it's mainly about these two characters getting to know one another. There's some great hand-to-hand combat infused with magic throughout. But ultimately, what I really enjoyed about this episode was that chemistry between Tom Hiddleston and Sophia Di Martino. I really enjoyed seeing Sylvie and Loki have to kind of connect, kind of learn things about each other, see the differences in their lives, and see the similarities. And I really enjoyed the performances overall and that character study element over the course of the whole episode. So this episode has great visuals, it's shot well, it's got a lot of really great moments in terms of the characters, great performances, and ultimately has some great action as well. I found this to be a really fun episode that ends in a pretty serious way, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what ends up happening. The last 5 minutes of this episode are just great, top-notch stuff. Tom Hiddleston continually proving why he's so iconic as the character of Loki, and ultimately this was just a quick, good, fun time. You know, it was a very easy breezy watch, and again, it's really about the focus between Loki and Sylvie, and learning who these characters are, and learning if they can trust each other, learning where they're different again. And I really thoroughly enjoyed the performances between the two. I think that without a doubt, that's definitely the takeaway of this episode. But yeah, they end up going to get on a train because they learn that there is an ark on this planet that, you know, has never escaped the planet before. It's meant to be destroyed as well as everybody else on the planet, and they figured maybe they can go get over there, get this ark off the planet, because now they're here, and maybe they can steal the power from this ark and they can end up leaving this planet. Well, they end up getting there after a big fight and near the end of the episode, and the ark is still destroyed. The episode ends with Sylvie just walking away because she's just seen their one chance of getting off the planet destroyed, and Loki is just staring at it like, damn, and everything around them is going to shit, and that's where the episode ends. So ultimately, a lot of really great action in this episode, a lot of really great character moments. I really enjoyed the character study element of who these two characters are, and being able to see the two of them learn who each other are, learn those differences, and the banter is great. I think the two of them, Tom Hiddleston and Sophia Di Martino, really bounce off each other very well. Again, great visuals, great action, great costume design, the performances were solid, and ultimately, this was a really great episode. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm very much looking forward forward to seeing what they do with the next installment in the franchise, the next episode. I mean, yeah, I'm really enjoying this show, and I really recommend it to anybody who has not already seen it. I'm going to assume if you're watching this video, you have seen it, but if you have not seen this episode, definitely check it out. I think this show is worth checking out. I think the chemistry between the characters is great. Marvel has just been killing it with these MCU shows as of late. WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Loki have all given us something very, very different, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier being the more, in tune with what the MCU has been up to this point, and WandaVision and Loki kind of just going balls to the wall with big over-the-top concepts, which are a lot of fun. And I think that Marvel is doing a top-notch job of keeping this all intertwined with what's going on in the movies, and really is keeping me excited to see where the franchise is going moving forward as we leave the Infinity Saga behind us. So yeah, guys, just gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. Thank you so much for watching. Can't wait to hear what you guys thought. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? How did you feel about that chemistry between Loki and Sylvie? How did you feel about the performers, Tom Hiddleston and Sophia Di Martino? Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. So hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.